know it took me quite a while. I know you're probably like, man, the last time you filmed here, your video it didn't even take 24 hours to take down your YouTube video. I ain't forgot about filming here and the video got taken down. That's why I made another video and took 50% of what you would have heard and saw in the video into that video about guys having a crush on their boss. So you got 50% of it. The other 50%, you'll be waiting until the end of the year. Now, this YouTube video is going to be about a complaint that I've been hearing on the internet. There's a lot of guys who claim that they go to the gym to get naturally fit and they look good to one woman, so then they think they are naturally fit and they think they look good to all women. So I thought I would do a 2-for-1 in the video. Like the first half of the video could explain what happens when you work out and you get results in the gym, and then what happens when, because there's another complaint on the internet that a lot of guys be wondering when they do talk to women, how come the woman doesn't want to give that guy the chance. And it's about guys trying to set their own standards and then have women follow those standards that they set, because they want to know, if a woman can have standards, how come I can't have no standards? It gets talked about all the time on the internet. And you see, I haven't really quite made a video for it because it's taboo. Every time somebody tries to make this video and explains it 100% precisely, 24 hours later or 2 days later or a month later, it gets taken down. Because some women might get angry and take it personal and flag the Holy Kingdom come out of the video, and then YouTube got to take your video down and then give you a copy strike. And every time you get a copy strike, it just brings you one step closer to your channel being extinct, like the dinosaurs. And no YouTuber wants their channel extinct just because they want to express how they feel good or bad about the opposite sex. Because some men feel like that they want to be able to explain it, and some men feel like that women need to just sit down and stop getting in their feelings and use their brain and think logical for once and let a man express himself and stop being scared and afraid of a man actually telling the truth for once. Because some women are afraid that if you tell the truth, it might expose the truth. And to me, that would be true if everyone supported it. Not everybody supports it. So it doesn't always get exposed like they say it does. It's just a man wanting to express his frustrations. So let me explain the looks phenomenon, because every man hears Red Pill say looks matter. They always say money, looks, and status, right? So let's explain the first part of the problem. Yes, women do want men that are physically, sexually attractive. About 80 to 85% of women do want men in athletic shape. They do want you to go to the gym to get bigger, stronger, faster, and athletic. Problem is, that can't be the only thing that you bring to the table. That's like a job interview, right? Your boss, when he sees your resume, he don't want to just see that you graduated from high school and college and the only job you've ever had was being a security guard. He want to see other forms of employment. And a lot of times when you guys go in the gym, you focus everything on looks and you forget the money and you forget the status. You forget the other two important things. It's like building a car. The engine is the secret ingredient that makes the car go. Problem is, when you keep basing everything off the looks, well, you don't make enough money, so your ability to make money suffers. You don't try to get no status, so then your status suffers because you're focusing everything all on the looks. And then when it's time for you to meet women in the real world and she sees that you're bigger, that you're stronger, that you're faster, that you work out, you do cardio, you do weight training, you're lean or you're ripped or you're jacked or you're buff. The 4 levels of fitness, the 4 different sizes of fitness. Problem is, you bring all of that to the table and that's all you have to offer. So then it becomes easy for her to write you off. Oh, all he does is go to the gym. He goes to work, he goes to the gym, he goes home. That's boring. So then you get rolled off. Then you try the money aspect. They say make enough money, a girl will see me. Well, you make money, but then the problem is you're making so much money, you don't have no days off from work. You don't get no holidays. You don't get no vacation time. And when you do get vacation time, you want to tell the girl that, look how much money I made. A woman wants you to have money, but she don't want to hear you talk about money 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So then again, you experience rejection. Then you talk about status. Well, I play basketball. I play football. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a weightlifter. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a YouTube content creator. I'm a filmmaker. It gets very fun and exciting for about 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, hold on. It gets boring because that's all you bring to the table. And you see what a lot of pickup artists and dating coaches don't want to talk about in their 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour seminar that they charge $300 or $500 or $3,000 cash. What they don't want to tell you is that when you go to the gym to get into athletic shape, that's not the final level of physically, sexually attracting a woman. Let me repeat it again. When you go to the gym to do cardio and weight training to get bigger, stronger, and faster, that is not the final level to physically, sexually attract women. That is actually the very beginning stages of actually doing it. When I was in the martial arts, I always asked my sensei, is getting a black belt the final level of being a martial artist? And he would look at me with this look and tell me, no, that's like the beginning of your martial arts training, because there's still stuff, even after you become an 8th degree black belt, there's still stuff for you to learn inside and outside the martial arts. Well, it's the same thing when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, it's not the final level of finally physically, sexually attracting women. That is actually the beginning stages of it. So what they tell you is the final stage is not even the final stage. It's the beginning stages. They don't tell you that in a 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour pickup artist or dating coach seminar, because that's a part of self-improvement. Now, let's talk about the other problem. And that is when you are good looking, a lot of times you don't have no one to tell you when you've reached a level. Now, most men, and I say most, and including me, we have this habit where we do one good thing, right? So then we automatically assume that we're at the final level, and we don't have no one to communicate to us that you're not at the final level. Somebody has to tell you when you're there and when you're not there. And then we make this one mistake, and we don't realize that we're making this one mistake. We're not realizing it because we don't think it's a big deal. It's a big deal to women, but we don't realize it until it's communicated to us. It's a problem. And that is talking too much. Now, you probably might say, but I thought you made YouTube videos in the past saying you got to learn how to talk. You got to learn to talk, but what I mean by talking too much, you kill your opportunities and your chances of taking women out to lunch and dinner or for a cup of coffee when you bring something up or you mention something and she never asked for it. For an example, I'm going to use myself as an example. In the past, I would always bring up to a girl, so maybe Friday or Saturday night, we probably can go down to the beach or down to this bar where they got a pool table and we can play a round of pool. And even though it sounds like an interesting idea to the girl, just the fact that I brought it up makes her now wonder, what's the real reason? What's the real intentions of you asking me that? So you took a good idea that actually works, and then no sooner you communicated it to her, now she's now questioning in her head all the scenarios on which you might actually do it if you were given the opportunity. So now she suspect that why would you bring that up? And why would you suggest that? So now you're in a situation where she don't trust you. And then if you try to suggest another idea to her, she'll turn that down. So every time you come up with a great idea, it gets turned down because she's playing all the scenarios out in her head. What are you trying to do? And then you get called a creep, a weirdo. I don't know what it is you're trying to pull. And then she has to turn you down because she don't know what your intentions are. And you might have good intentions and she might turn them down. Because every single man that comes across her all do that. The third problem is that there's a lot of competition to get the girl. You work out, right? And let's say you're a bodybuilder who bench presses, leg squat, and deadlift 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds. So you're very athletic. You're very in great athletic fit condition. Here's the problem. There's at least 10 other men that also go to the gym and do the same exact thing. And when you try to ask her out to lunch or dinner for a cup of coffee, how is that going to work when every time she turns around, there's another guy that she finds physically, sexually attractive that's interested in her? Remember my YouTube video from like 8 months ago called A Woman Has 7 Boyfriends? Well, I'm going to take some illustration from that video and re-advise it here in this video to explain that. 7 men chase 1 woman, okay? In one day, not in 7 days. In one day, 7 to 8 men will chase 1 girl. Each man is gonna try to show the woman why she should be interested in him. You get another guy that drives a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Okay, so she's interested because he got the motorcycle. You got another guy who's an actor in television and film. So she going, okay, I got one guy that does acting in television and film. This guy drives a motorcycle. This guy works out. He's a fitness buff. So that's 3 guys right there she can choose from. But just before she can make her decision, here comes the football player. So that's 4 guys. Then just when she really thinks she can make a decision, here comes an R&B singer or a rock star. So that's 5 guys. And then just when she really thinks she can make a decision, here comes this one guy that's a doctor. That's 6. Here comes a lawyer. That's 7. Here comes a guy that's a police officer. That's 8. Here comes a guy that's a firefighter. That's 9. And then here comes me. So now she has a total of 10 men that are all interested in her, and all 10 of us find her physically, sexually attractive. And then the problem that you have is that she cannot date all 10 men in one day. So what she does is she say, just give me your name and your phone number, and guess what? Maybe only 3 or maybe 5 out of 10 of those men actually get phone calls back, text messages, emails, invitations to take her out to lunch and dinner or for a cup of coffee. The other 5 guys, it's like a job interview. You don't call them, we call you. It's 3 months later, 6 months later, it's a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Before you know it, it's 10 years later that you run into the woman. She's probably happily married, has kids, and you're probably still shaking your head like I was the right man for her. She don't know that. She picked who she thought was the right man for her. And you're still feeling some type of way because you're still not understanding, well, I worked out, I got into shape, so I guess women don't like men in an athletic shape. And then you get discouraged and don't want to hit the gym no more because she chose the police officer, or she chose the doctor or the lawyer over you. So you feel like that working out in the gym has no value when it does. Or if you're the R&B singer, you feel like that because you rap so good or you sing so good. She chose an actor, so you feel like your profession has no value when it actually does. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because it's called competition. If you're a real man and you try to date the opposite sex, you have to understand that in order to get a female, in order to get a potential mate, you have to at least do competition. Now, I know there's some men that hate competition because their whole entire life when they were in high school, college, it was always hard and competitive. They always lost to the basketball player, the football player, the baseball player. There's the soccer player in high school and college. Then you get into the job world, you lose to doctors, the lawyers, the police officers, the firefighters, the actors. You lose to these people. And it gets you upset because you compete, and every time you compete, you lose to all these guys who have more money and more status, and you get upset because you're competing, but you want to know why every time I compete, I get nowhere. And then what you have to understand is it's competition. I mean, imagine this. Imagine if someone gave you a car for free, right? Imagine somebody gave you a car with no challenge. There would be no respect. There would be no satisfaction. And there would be no appreciation for that car because it was given to you for free. Now, let's swap the car out and swap the girl in. Let's say it's 10, you know my slogan, 10, 15, 20 years later, extreme cases, 25 to 30 years later, and the woman is at the advanced ages of 30, 35, 40, 45, or even 50 years old. And let's say she has kids or grandkids, and she remember you from the days of high school and college. Or if you never met this woman in high school and college, you saw her at the gym or at the mall, the movie theater, the park, or at work, and she basically communicate to you that now she would want you to take her out to lunch and dinner or for a cup of coffee. Now, how does that make you feel as a heterosexual man? It doesn't matter if you're a black man, white, Mexican, Asian, or Indian. How does that make you feel 100% honest? It makes you feel like you got something for free and you didn't work for it, you didn't earn it. There's no respect and there's no appreciation for it. Because in all the time you didn't see her, you don't know why you got it for free. So now you're questioning why you give it to me for free. So now you're not even sure if you want to deal with a person like that, right? Well, that's why I brought up the analogy of the car. So you have to compete. Now, I'm not saying you need to compete all the time, but you do have to compete. If you got to compete to get a house, because believe it or not, it ain't you just buy a house and you got the house, and there could be 3 or 4 other men who want to purchase a house, so you have to compete for the house. You want an apartment, you're competing with someone else to get the apartment. And believe it or not, when it comes to the opposite sex, you have to compete. That's why I said you got some men that hate and despise competition, because their whole entire life, when they were in high school and college, they always lost out to the basketball player, the football player, the baseball player, the soccer player. Same thing in college, they would lose out. Okay, we're not in high school and college no more, we're in the real world, we all have jobs and careers. Now I lose the people that are doctors, lawyers, police officers, firefighters, guys that work for the FBI, the CIA, lawmakers. I lose out to rich people that are rich and famous. Now I'm losing to actors, rock stars, R&B singers. I'm now losing to all these men. Yeah, it's bad, but it could be a lot worse. So that's why I'm saying that's the thing we men have to understand. It's competition. Now, does that mean it will always be that way? No. It might last 5 years, might last 10, might even last 15 years. But there's a period where you're still competing, but then because you self-improved yourself, the door opens up and you got a new pool of options. This is if you self-improve yourself, a door of options just open up. We're already at the 20-minute mark, so I'm trying to explain as much as the first half of the problem as I can, and then when we get to the second half of the problem, then you'll know why it ties together. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand there's competition, okay? Now, let's talk about when guys have their own dating options and how they feel like that a female needs to conform. What if I told you that the guys who are trying to make up rules for women are guys that got rejected their whole entire life in high school and college? And there's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of these men are either a beta males or they got accused of being an beta male, and a lot of these men find it rude and disrespectful over the years that it was being done to them, so they decided to make a rule that they have to have standards for themselves, because there's another complaint that quote unquote most men like me and you, we don't have no standards when it comes to women. You know, black women, white women, Latino women, Asian women, Indian women, most of us don't have no standards. You know, I see a woman with a bunch of tattoos and body piercings, I go for that type of girl. And then some people look at me like, dude, have some standards. And what it is a lot of men are tired of having to put in so much work and effort, because let's be honest, by the end of the day, that's basically what it is. It's a lot of work and a lot of effort. The problem is not putting in work and effort. The problem is you're putting in too much work and too much effort, and then it goes on for 10, 15, 20 years, extreme cases, 25 to 30 years. There's an old saying called, you're trying too hard. When you try too hard, it becomes painfully obvious there's a fire truck and the paramedics. When you try too hard, people will then say why you're being desperate, or why you being a mangina, why you being a simp, why you begging. You know, why you begging for the booty, why you begging for the poo nanny, why you so hard up for the poo nanny, right? You'll hear some people say it's not that serious. It's the fire truck, it's summertime, it's hot, ain't nothing I can do about the noise, can't do nothing about the sound, so I'm apologizing of the audio problem. I am in the Grove, I'm at the park, but there's a fire truck, and when it makes noise, I can't do nothing about that. Now, like I was saying, you hear men say, why are you so desperate? Why are you so hard up? Why are you so hard up for the poo nanny? It's not that serious, right? And sometimes you want to look at these individuals with this look on your face like, it ain't a problem for you because you can get any woman you want. You don't have trouble asking women out to lunch and dinner and taking them to a cup of coffee. I do. And then they'll look at you and say, that's no right to justify you being hard up for the poo nanny, you being hard up for the booty. That's what they'll tell you, right? And again, you will justify the fact that they have an advantage, you're at a disadvantage. Now, here's what I'm going to say. It's good to have some kind of standards, because, you know, there's a knock. A lot of us don't, quote unquote, have no standards. So I thought I would probably explain how this works, but then how it also blows up and it backfires. If you have too many standards, it can hurt you. It can be detrimental to your health and existence. For an example, let's say I have a list of what I expect from women from the age of 18 to 29. She gotta be in athletic shape, she gotta have a house, she gotta have a car. Right there, that's too many. Because she may not have a car. She may not have a house. Now, if she goes to the gym and she work out and she stay in athletic shape, that's one requirement. Now, if she have a job, that's two requirements. What most men are trying to do is get it to the way the woman has it, and that's where it works against you and blows up in your face 99.99%. If a woman say, I want a man to have a house, a car, you know, 6 figures, and he got to be really in shape, okay, that's the woman. But when you try to copy the woman's plan, it doesn't turn out very well. I don't care if you like a woman that's got 5 tattoos and she's in athletic shape and she's bad as hell. Make it to where you got some kind of standard so it can feel like to everyone he's making the effort. So even though you find it stupid and it doesn't make no logical sense to a lot of you, at least you do it so other men can say, okay, at least he made the effort. At least he tried to do what they mean by at least raise your standards. Why are you scared to raise your standards? Because there's a lot of men that say, I'm sick of putting in all this work and effort, because by the end of the day, that's basically what it is. The thing is, you're putting in too much work, too much effort. And then, like I said, this can go on for a very long, awful time. This can go on for 10, 15, 20 years, extreme cases, 25 to 30 years. You take a woman out to lunch, right? I'm going to explain the second half of the problem. You take a woman out to lunch, and she comes 15 to 30 minutes late. Well, that's strike one, because you're not taking a woman out to lunch and dinner so she can be late 15 to 30 minutes late. You did it because you honestly found that woman physically, sexually attractive. You like her, you respect her, and you want to get to know more about her. Problem is, she's 15 to 30 minutes late. What's even worse is she shows up and don't give you an explanation on why she's late. But then she wants to repeat it again. So that happens 2 times, that's strike 2. She does it again, that's strike 3. And most men are afraid to do that because you're afraid that the girl may never talk to you again or don't like you no more. So you're afraid that if you do it, then you lost your opportunity. So a lot of us have this fear that this is the only woman that we can get. And then we don't realize there's millions and millions of women walking on this planet. And I'm going to tell you why a lot of men don't like the concept of just move on. I'm going to tell you why they hate and despise it. Because what that says is you got to put in some more work and some more effort when you already put in more work and more effort, right? So let's say I try to take a girl out to McDonald's and she don't show up for an hour. And let's say I try 2 more times. And all 3 times she don't show up. Well, I move on to girl number 2. There is an 80% chance that girl number 2 can do the same exact thing. So now you're nervous because you already lost girl number 1. And now you're more nervous that girl number 2 might do it to you. Okay, girl number 2 actually does show up, but she just show up late. So that ain't the problem no more. So now your new problem is she don't want to talk about why she's happy that you took her out to lunch and dinner. She want to talk about her ex-husband or her ex-boyfriend. So now you have another problem to deal with. And you are scratching your head like, why are you talking about him when you should be talking about why you want to meet me? So now you have a new problem. So now here's how it's supposed to go. If the woman talk about her boyfriend or ex-husband 3 times, 3 strikes her out. She comes late 3 times in a row, 3 strikes her out. And the reason why you have to do this is because time and money is everything. You lose money. Yes, I'm itching, but don't worry about that. I know it's a distraction to the video, but it's better to be in the shade than to be in the sun, and you guys can't see my face, and then the sun blocks my face, and then you can't see who's talking to you in the camera. It sucks, but it's unfortunate. Don't worry, we'll pick a better part of the location of the next time I film. You get a situation where if she comes late 3 times to lunch and dinner, 3 strikes, bye-bye, see you later. She talk about her husband or her boyfriend 3 times in a row, 3 strikes, bye-bye, see you later. And here's what you have to understand. If you cannot talk about your ex-wife and ex-girlfriend, she cannot talk about her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend at all. If you come 30 minutes to an hour late and she go off on you, She can't come 30 minutes to an hour late. Here's another one. Always answering phone calls and text messages in the middle of a conversation. It happens, right? And you feel like while you're talking, she's not into the conversation, and it's a sign of disrespect. And if you did it, then she'll accuse you of not being interested in why you're here, right? If that happens, 3 strikes, you're out. Now, this is for men that women deem beta males, okay? Not alpha males, beta males. Women who think men are beta males are the ones trying this, and this doesn't turn out very well, because when the woman catch on to what you're doing, then it becomes a problem. You get called names like you're a jerk, you're a punk, you're a bully, you're an a-hole, you don't understand. You're going to hear all of that. Now, the first time you do it, it's not going to turn out very successful. It's actually going to be regarded as a failure, because there's going to be a misunderstanding when you first try it. You try it a second time, and the second time ends the same way the first time. The thing is, you're going to end up having to do it a total of 5 to 10 times. Worst case scenario, 11 to 12 times. Because what you're trying to eliminate is the women who are just there to waste your time and money. Because it costs money to take women out to lunch and dinner. Food and water costs money. Your time, unfortunately, this is not the movie Avengers Endgame, where you can just take a time machine and go back in time and get back the time that you lost. Once that time has been spent, it can never come back. Trust me. And you see, what you don't want is a cycle of frustration where every time you date a beautiful, attractive woman, it doesn't matter if it's black women, white women, Mexican women, Asian or Indian women. You don't want a continuous cycle where every time you date these women, something always got to go wrong. Next you know, you're in your 30s, then you're in your 40s, then you're in your 50s. Every single time you date a woman, something always happens to you. See, women do this to guys that they can get away with. You want to eliminate the women who don't want to answer their phone when they're late. You want to eliminate the women who come 30 minutes to an hour late. The ones who are always coming up with excuses. The ones that want to play games. Because then what happens is you get there and she's not even interested. And then you're like, if you are not interested in me taking you out to lunch and dinner, then what was the whole point of you bringing me on board? So that's what we want to prevent. Now, the way you do your thing is, I'm just giving you a prime example. I can't tell you how to create your own strategy on how to have your own standards. I'm just trying to explain to you how this goes from you trying it and it just blows up in your face and it doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying don't have no standards, and I'm not saying you should have standards. I'm just trying to explain in the video. I made a 2-for-1. The first half is explaining, yeah, there's a lot of male competition. Pickup artists and dating coaches just tell you red pill men